Hi, I'm Catherine from Catherine Learns Stuff. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make some wine cozies, or if you prefer, you can use them as a coaster. These are a cute little project that you can make with scrap fabric, and they work great to protect the bottom of your wine glass as well as stop spills. And if you color them differently, they can also be sort of used as color markers for when you are having friends over. So let's jump over to our workstations and get this project started. So I want to quickly walk you through how to measure the size that you're going to need for your wine glass cozy. Now every wine glass might have a different size stem, so I just want to quickly walk you through this one here. Now I've got small wine glasses, but what you would need to do is you would need to measure the outside of the bottom of the stem here, so this piece right here. Now my measuring mat here shows me that it's 3 inches by 3 inches, sort of in diameter, so I've got 3 inches this way and 3 inches this way. So when I'm cutting my fabric, I want to have at least 4 inches, so giving me ½ inch of fabric to sew with. If you have larger stems and petal bases for your wine glasses, you'll need a larger one, but 4 inches for my size works. Now, if you're not very good at sewing, I would even recommend going as far as going to 5 inches to give yourself additional clearance for when you're sewing. So each cozy is going to need 6 pieces of fabric that are cut to a 4 inch by 4 inch size, and you're going to also need some interfacing. Now I've got 6 pieces of fabric cut out. I've got 4 that are the same color and 2 that are different colors, and I've got my piece of interfacing. Each cozy that I'm going to make is going to have a different color top, so that if you're at a wine drinking event like at your house, everyone can have a different color cozy so that they know which glass is which. And then I've got different color bases just to give the cozy a little bit of color. The first thing that we need to do is we need to iron all of our pieces. So these 2 pieces here that I have are a little bit bent still, so I'm going to iron these again. And these pieces here, the 4 that I have that are the same color, I'm going to fold them in half and iron them like this. Now, you can use alternating colors on the top if you'd like, different shades. I'm going to be using solid colors for each top layer of my cozy. So each top is going to have 4 light blue, and I'm going to have 4 dark blue and 4 purple, and 4 dark purple and 4 light purple, so that I've got different colors so that you can tell them apart. But you can do like a multicolor, so you could do dark, light, light, dark, or whatever you would like. Those are additional options. So I'm going to quickly iron these pieces here, and then we'll get back to putting this together. Now I've got my 4 pieces ironed, and I've got my 2 bases ironed, and I've got my interfacing. What we want to do with this, it's a bit tricky because we're not doing this the normal way of sewing, and we're actually going to layer this the way that we would imagine this being together. So I'm going to be putting down my first sheet facing design side down. I'm putting my interfacing down. Now I've got interfacing that you have to sew in, not iron in, so I've got to put the piece the same size. And then I'm going to put in my top layer here to seal off my base of my cozy. Then I'm going to be putting in pieces one at a time, overlapping one over the next. And so I'm going to go like this and like this. And I want each piece to be overlapped. And I want this open edge that I've got here facing outwards so that it's not going to be in the middle of my cozy. And so just going to, this one's got to go underneath. And so we want an up-down pattern so that this will actually be able to flip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put I've got these little clippy things here to hold this in place. I'm going to clip these bits all together. Now normally when you're sewing, you want to sew everything inside out, but we're actually going to flip this later, so we don't need to flip it twice because that becomes really difficult, and we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to run an edge around here, about 1/8 of an inch around the edges, and I can go all the way around because I'm actually going to flip it through this hole that I have here. So I'm going to quickly sew this together, and we'll meet it back up here in a second. Okay, so I've sewn my edges around, and I'm going to just trim them up so that there's not as much space on the edges here, and get rid of any of the excess thread that I've got. And you don't need to cut too much. You can even leave the whole thing if you prefer. It doesn't matter. Because when we're going to be flipping this, it's going to kind of all hide inside. And I did not the greatest job sewing, but everything's kind of going to be hidden anyways. And I like to snip the corners so that they're a little bit smaller, because those are the bits that are going to cause a little bit of issues when we're flipping it, but that's kind of the case with everything when you're flipping it and sewing. All right, so now we've got all of this done. So I'm gonna flip this inside out now through my hole here. And now all that's left to do is put our wine glass into the wine cozy. You need to be able to pull the stem of the wine glass through the 4 flaps of the cozy. This takes a little bit of practice on the first time, but once you've done it once or twice, you'll understand how this works. You just need to flip them over one by one and get the bottom of the glass in there. And there you have it, our wine glass cozy is complete. And there you have it. We've successfully made our wine cozies, or if you prefer, coasters. Let me know if you tried this project out and how it turned out for you. If you've got any suggestions on how to make this better, be sure to drop me a note. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy crafting!